The evening sun was slowly sinking behind the hills, painting the sky in shades of gold and orange. Aarav sat on the old wooden bench near the quiet lake, watching the last light shimmer on the water. This had become his routine ever since he moved to this small town. Every evening he came here, not to think, but somehow thoughts always found him. Life had felt strange lately. Not bad, just empty. Aarav had left the busy city after losing his job, his friends drifting away, and days turning into long, silent hours. The town was peaceful, but peace sometimes made loneliness louder. Still, the lake in the evening gave him comfort, like the world slowed down just for a moment. One day, as he sat watching the sunset, he noticed an elderly woman standing near the water. She wore a light gray shawl and held a small lantern in her hand, even though it wasn't dark yet. Aarav wondered why she needed a lantern before nightfall. Curiosity pulled his eyes toward her again and again. The next evening, she was there again. Same spot, same lantern. This time, Aarav gathered the courage to walk over. "Excuse me," he said gently. "Are you waiting for someone?" The woman smiled, her eyes warm and calm. "Yes," she said, looking at the horizon. "I wait for the last light of evening." Aarav didn't understand, but he sat beside her. She told him her name was Meera. Every evening she came to light the lantern just before sunset faded. "My husband and I used to sit here every day," she explained. "He said the last light of evening is the most honest light. It shows you what really matters." Aarav listened quietly. Meera's voice was soft but strong, like someone who had known both love and loss. She told him her husband had passed away years ago. "But I still come," she said, lighting the lantern as the sun dipped lower, "because love doesn't end when someone leaves, it changes form." That sentence stayed with Aarav long after he went home. The next day he came earlier. Meera was already there, watching the sky. They talked again, about simple things at first. The town, the weather, the birds. Slowly, the conversations grew deeper, like two strangers gently opening old locked rooms in their hearts. Aarav shared how he felt like he had failed in life. Meera listened without interrupting. When he finished, she said, "Sometimes life doesn't close a door to punish us. It closes it to lead us somewhere quieter, where we can hear ourselves again." The lake reflected the fading light, and for the first time in months, Aarav felt heard. Days turned into weeks. The evening meetings became their silent promise. Meera always brought the lantern. Aarav began bringing tea in a small thermos. They didn't always talk. Sometimes they just watched the sky change colors, from gold to pink to deep blue. Silence between them felt peaceful, not heavy. One evening, clouds covered the sky, and the sunset was hidden. Aarav felt disappointed. "No last light today," he said softly. Meera smiled and lit the lantern anyway. "The light is still there," she replied. "We just can't see it. That doesn't mean it's gone." Aarav looked at the small flame and felt something warm in his chest. Winter came slowly. The air turned colder and the evenings darker. One day, Meera didn't come. Aarav waited, holding the thermos tightly, watching the sky alone. He told himself she was just late, but the bench felt emptier than ever before. The next evening, he went to her house, the address she once mentioned. A neighbor opened the door and spoke gently. Meera had passed away peacefully in her sleep. Aarav stood still, the words heavy but quiet, like snowfall. That evening, he went to the lake anyway. The sky glowed with a soft orange light, the most beautiful sunset he had seen in months. His hands trembled as he held a small lantern. Meera's neighbor had given it to him. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Aarav lit the flame. Tears blurred his vision, but he smiled. He understood now. The last light of evening wasn't about endings, it was about remembering what still glows, even after loss. Love, kindness, moments shared in silence. From that day on, Aarav came every evening, not because he was lonely, but because he was grateful. He started helping in the town library, meeting new people, listening more. Something inside him had shifted, like the sky at sunset, changing quietly, beautifully. And each evening, as the sun faded and the world softened, a small lantern flickered beside the lake, a reminder that even when the light seems to leave, its warmth can stay in the heart forever.